And I love this campus. And one of the greatest things that I want to share with you today is the idea about making an opportunity in the automotive industry, and also in some of the technical fields, such as also heavy equipment. I mean, the automotive industry is constantly changing. One of the greatest things about the program is we're not just teaching you how to work on cars that were made 10 years ago. We're teaching you how to work on cars that will be made in 10 years from now. Okay, because the technology of vehicles are changing. It used to be a time where you could get by with a small tool collection and work on a car in your driveway or in your garage. And those days are really, they're over. I mean, unless it's an older vehicle, we're really talking about where the money's at is working on the higher end cars that aren't even on the road yet. And the interesting thing about the automotive industry is it's going to help you make a lot of money, because these cars that are that you see on the highway, every one of them need some type of maintenance. The maintenance is the secret of keeping cars around. And I don't know if anybody here has been pricing any new cars lately, but the cost of used cars, the cost of new cars is constantly shooting up, which drives the necessity of technicians. We need people who can work in this field. We're looking at right now for every 4 jobs in the automotive industry right now, only one of them is filled. There is such a huge need for automotive technicians. People going into this industry. I mean, you constantly hear about people who are saying, you probably know somebody who's saying, I'm looking for work and I can't find it. Okay, there's a lot of people laying people off. Right now, that's not happening at all in the automotive industry. And I want to thank what Mrs. Nakatani showed us today with knowing how there's this technical field. It's one of the largest areas right now that they're hiring. You know, you try going into some other areas where it's dwindling, it's getting smaller and smaller. Years ago, when I was a kid, there was a job called a TV repairman. That's not needed anymore. Why would anybody need to get a new TV? If a TV's not working, just buy a new one. And it's cost effective, whereas jobs get replaced. But one thing that's not going to replace anytime soon is a technical field of the cars, the automotive, the automobiles that you see on the road, the trucks, transportation. When you figure that 90% of the careers that you see are somehow dependent on transportation. Okay, we need transportation to be able to move products around. Whatever you can imagine, vehicles need to move products. So even when you buy something on Amazon, I mean, it doesn't just mysteriously end up in your mailbox or on your front doorstep. Something needs to drive those products to its location for the end users. Right now, Gary, Indiana, for instance, I'm going to just pick on Gary, Indiana, but there's cities all across the United States. There are people right now who will start you off with a $25,000 startup fee if you're a qualified technician. Here's $25,000 plus they'll pay you to start working. Now, they're not just going to give that to anybody who just signs up and says, hey, I want $25,000. They need qualified technicians. And one of the nicest things about Rio Hondo College is that we will help you get to that level. If you have a desire and you have a drive, the opportunities here, there's a key that we have for you to do with whatever you choose to do with that knowledge. We have certificates. Now, for those of you who know about a certificate, it's slightly different than actually getting a degree. A certificate is walking into a job interview and saying, listen, this is what I have, because you need 3 things when you're when you're applying for a job. You need 3 things. You need to have the paper in your hand. Look, here, I have some type of certification, okay? You also need to know what you're doing. That's the second thing. You have to know what you're doing. All the papers and documents in the world are not going to replace the fact that whether or not you know how to do that job, okay? And it doesn't matter which field we're talking about, whether it's in automotive and heavy equipment or in every industry, you're going to need to have that. You're going to need some type of certification. It really helps. You're going to need to have that knowledge. And the last one is you need to have that network. And one of the greatest things about Rio Hondo, I know there's a long list of great things, but you have the list of networking. We have a program here at Rio Hondo where we work with Honda PACT. And what that is, we work with the we work with other dealerships in the area. And it's amazing how many Honda techs were actually former students at Rio Hondo. In a large area around Whittier, we have people in dealerships 50, 60, 70 miles away and further who can say that they were Rio Hondo students at one point, or currently still Rio Hondo employees, Rio Hondo students, and now they're working for Honda. So for those of you who really like Acuras or Hondas, you're in a great spot right here. What's also nice is you decide, hey, you know what? I want to move somewhere else. You have that that ability because you're networking, and Rio Hondo has connections where we work with an advisory council, which is what Ms. Nakatani was talking about earlier, mentioning about what an advisory panel is. We as a college, we work with employers. And they tell us, hey, this is what we're looking for. This is the kind of employee we need. And we say, done, we're going to make it happen. And we're all working together as a team. See, when you win, we win. Everybody wins. The employers win, the campus wins. We're all on a winning team here. So you're in the right spot. Now, thank you. If you can move on to the next slide right now. We have a bachelor's degree. Now, if anyone here has been pricing what a bachelor's degree will set you back, it's not cheap. Every time I blink my eyes, I think that the price of a bachelor's degree keeps improving. I mean, it keeps increasing, I should say. Yes, it just keeps climbing. Well, Rio Hondo it's one of the only campuses in the United States that offers a bachelor's degree at a community college and also offers a bachelor's degree in the automotive industry. So with that, you can step out and you can decide you want to go into management, you want to go into some kind of training other techs down the road. Okay, technicians are constantly entering the force. We're always getting new technicians. Technicians have to constantly be updated on their craft because the cars keep changing on a regular basis. So there's so many things you can do. Just getting by with just a high school class and then going out and making yourself a living off of it is becoming harder and harder to do. But you will climb very quickly in, you can climb very high in this industry with the necessary tools that you can learn from this campus. And then from that point on, networking and working at other places. Okay, we have two sections here. We have one in business and we also have business and marketing. So if you know you plan on you know that you want to go into business and marketing of automotive, in the automotive industry, this is a great place. You'll learn a lot about your equipment. You'll learn a lot about how the business works, and you'll learn a lot about more. You'll have a greater understanding of how everything works. Go ahead, if you could take us to the next slide. Alternative fuels. All right, this right here is this is Professor John Fowler. This is actually a picture that was taken from a newspaper that came out some years back. He's like a wizard. He is known all across, really, literally, he's known across the world in the industry. He's an incredible man to meet, and he is in charge of the alternative fuels and advanced technology. He does a lot with electric vehicles. Everything is becoming much more electrified now. I mean, in the old days, there were technicians, and we're talking about back in the 70s and 80s, a person could get by and say, I want to do everything I can do with cars except electricity. I don't want to work with electricity. And today now, the way cars are set up is everything on a vehicle is now somehow connected to a computer system. Tires, brakes, I mean, you name it. Somebody was just asking, can you get all 4 certificates or just one? Yes, that is your call. If you would like to get all certificates, absolutely. People have done that before where they've taken certificates in one area and then they decide on coming back and then constantly increasing their background knowledge because the industries keep changing. I mean, the cars today. I don't know if anybody here has anyone. Go ahead and put this in the chat box if you don't mind. Is there anybody here who's had any experience at all about hearing about advanced driver assist systems? Is there anybody who's heard about that? You don't mind just putting that in the chat box if you have. Okay, so let me talk to you about this one right now. No, okay, well, let me tell you, thank you very much for your response. Never heard about it. All right, well, thank you very much for those. Yes, thanks, hearing some responses here. The automated driver assist systems. You may have seen some of the commercials where a person's driving on the road and a kid runs out in the street and all of a sudden the brakes stop and now you just saved the kid's life. People are looking down at their texts, they're looking at their phone and they're not paying attention to the car in front of them. Smack. But now with the driver assist systems, there is a controllers that control the brake, the engine, the transmission, and in some cases, even the safety equipment like your airbags and your seatbelt tensioners to prevent an accident from ever occurring. Pretty amazing when you think about all of this is going on within less than a second, faster than you can blink your eye. The cars today are running on processing speeds that are going into the well into high terabytes per second processors. We are talking about having petabytes on newer cars, which is 1,000 terabytes. So 1,000 terabytes are that's a petabyte, and the processing speeds that we're finding is at an uncontrollable rate compared to what we were used to even 3 years ago. It's the cars are constantly advancing. Computers, there are many computers on vehicles, so cars are more computer now than ever before. We're going into the direction of energy management, people being able to control all these, which now takes us to right over here. Electric, thank you very much. We're looking at the electric vehicle and fuel cell technology program. All right, so I'm sure I'm assuming that people here have already heard about the new electrified Hummer that's coming out. Has anyone heard about that? The new electrified Hummer, right. They started advertising that at the at a Super Bowl last year. And that is for real. It is coming out. And we have other companies that are coming out as well. Rivian, Tesla, of course, you're familiar with Tesla. You're familiar with, which we have a Tesla program as well. These are Tesla techs. So learning, and there's Professor John Follow once again. He runs that program. So we have the EV program. We have the fuel cell, which is using hydrogen power and being able to use, basically, when you think about it, hydrogen comes from water, and there's a way to remove the hydrogen from the oxygen, and we can use that hydrogen. It's a little more complicated than the way I'm explaining it, but the way it works is it basically comes down to some energy that we can use to propel vehicles at a much cleaner rate than using the internal combustion engine that we've seen over 100 years now. The technology keeps changing. Computers keep changing. Management systems keep changing. Well, as you start to see more and more electric cars on the road, we're going to need to be able to harness that power. How are we going to power all these electric cars? I mean, when you think about how, get this, an average electric car, and I'm not talking about the high-performance Teslas or the Rivians or even the Hummer, okay? That's going to be an incredible rocket. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but it's 0 to 60 speed is pretty close to a Corvette. And to get that kind of acceleration in such a large vehicle that's going to compete against 0 to 60 time like a Corvette, I get excited about this stuff, folks. But it's amazing to see how much power it's going to take to move these vehicles. I'm talking about a regular, ordinary electric vehicle. Do you realize it uses the same amount of energy to propel a general average electric car 100 miles, okay? It uses the same amount of electricity as it does to power an average size home with the air conditioner for 24 hours. Now, you've heard about these rolling blackouts that we've been having during the summer where they were shutting power down. If you live in Whittier, you probably had some of those experiences over the summertime, right? Well, how are we going to manage that kind of energy if everybody on the road, or even 50% of the people on the road, are using electric vehicles? How are we going to manage that? We're not there right now. Now, if we start getting into more automated cars, okay, autonomous vehicles, automated cars, cars that are able to drive themselves, we are very close to having this on the road, but there's a lot of litigation and there's a lot of rules that are preventing this from happening at this time. But mark my words, folks, every one of you in this room are going to be seeing some automated cars. I mean, the new students who are in here, this is going to be your lifetime right now. There's a good chance that your kids will never have an opportunity to drive a car with a steering wheel or a pedal, and they'll just get in their car, take out their phone, and then it's like an automated Uber driver for them, that the car will then go to somebody else at that moment. So they don't even own it. And it's amazing to see how this works, which now takes us to the next things. Building more roads, we need heavy equipment. Okay, heavy equipment, big trucks, big bucks. You want to make some money, you work on these big machines that are out here. Because when a machine like this breaks down, okay, the people who are in charge of these machines, you see the building skyscrapers, building trenches, building freeways, building roads. You see the big trucks right here. You don't go on the internet and look up to see who has the best deal. You look at who can repair that vehicle as quickly as they can and get that truck back on the road, because you can't have a crew just sitting around for 3 days waiting for a part to be delivered. You need it taken care of right away. If there's a flat on one of these trucks, you can't just drive it down to the other side of town and get a new tire installed. You need people who know how to do this kind of repair work. All right, go ahead to the next slide. We have the Tesla program, and let's see, where are we now? We're at I think that is going to, we have a couple more. Okay, I want to talk to you guys really quickly about something else and learning about the skills that pay the bills. Okay, there's a lot of, you learn the skills that pay the bills. I mean, let's face it, you need 4 walls and a roof above your head, and you're going to need a place to stay. Well, here's the thing, is that it's a scary thing for a lot of young people, because where are you going to live? Where are you going to, you want a place to call your own. Here's your opportunity right here. Rio Hondo is definitely a key that can unlock many opportunities and many doors for you. I know my life has changed in a very positive way, and it all started with enrolling into this campus. I want to talk to you about real quickly, there was one other thing I want to just mention, and that is talking about these automated cars. As we start looking into these automated cars, 5G. I don't think you've probably heard about some of these 5G phones that they're talking about. I want you to know that in the automotive industry, they're already getting ready for 6G. We're not even at 5G yet, and we're already getting ahead looking at 6G, because that's the way that the vehicles are going to have to communicate with themselves. So when a car's driving down the road, they're going to have to send a signal to the car 100 feet behind them saying, hey, listen, there's going to be a turn coming up here, right here. Or there's a kid, or there's a pothole, or there's some kind of debris left in the side of the road. And it's constantly communicating with each other, which now takes us to a new level. We're looking at security. There's so many areas that are growing and growing and growing. Once again, we're not here to teach you about cars that were made 20 years ago or 10 years ago. We're teaching you how to work on the vehicles that are going to be made in the future. So welcome. I admire every one of you here who took the afternoon to come down here. If you have any questions, please, I'm going to put my name out here. Oh, if you could help me out right now, Martine, if you don't mind putting my email out there, I'm kind of blocked on my screen. If you could set it out there for everyone to see it, it's agold@riohondo.edu. I'd be more than glad to walk you through anything. If you have any questions, also putting you in contact with the CTE counselors that we have. We have great CTE counselors, which will not only help you with the engineering department, and thank you very much with Ms. Nakatani's presentation, but it can also help you with heavy equipment, and also helping you out. Thank you for doing that. Also helping you out with information about the automotive program, the certificates, and also helping you out with any information about green energy and green technology. We have a huge program here at this campus, and once again, you're doing the first thing by stepping up, by talking to people. Please do not hide behind an avatar. Reach out. There's real human beings out here. We're more than willing to help you. And I'll tell you for myself, the reason why I believe in it so much is because it's done a lot for me, and I'm just giving back to whatever, any way I can. So thank you very much. I'm sorry if it was quick, but I hope I answered. If you have any other questions, please let me know.